And on a personal note, I want to say that I feel that this honor is bestowed on me not only as me as a person, but really as a representative of many, many brave Israeli women. Some of them are here in the crowd, your own Lions of Judah from Israel, and especially the representatives from the families, from the hostage families, Aviva, who herself came back from captivity, Shir, Maya, who just spoke fabulously, and Yerden. And they are just a small representation of the bravery of Israeli women since October 7th on all fronts, be it as fighters, as paramedics, as carers for others, of helpers, on all fronts. So I really feel that I'm representing all of Israeli women. Thank you.
And as I've said to you face to face and now in front of this large group, you and President Herzog have been our North Star.
Thank you.
For all of us in this crisis. And I want to just express a special thank you to Helen. We both share a special connection with her as she has joined us in the work that we have done for women and children in Ukraine. And I'm very glad that she was the person particularly to present this to you today.
So am I. So am I. It was our joint work, as sadly we will mark soon in February the 3-year mark for the war in Ukraine. And then when the war broke out, it was just a natural reaction for many Israelis and for you as philanthropists in North America to help the Ukrainians. And we felt as Israelis that we should share unfortunately, the experience we had with post-trauma of children and families then on the Gaza border. And you immediately joined us in offering help. We had a course for professionals in Israel. We brought psychologists from Ukraine at the personal request of Mrs. Olena Zelensky. And we also hosted Mrs. Zelensky in Israel in June of 2023. One of the most moving meetings she had during that visit was with a family from Sderot. The mother brought along her children and explained to her what it is to go through sirens for many, many years, post-trauma, treatment of children, and it was a very, very moving meeting. Little did we know that what will happen in Sderot a few months later.
And I hope you have felt our partnership not just with this important work in Ukraine, but with everything that Israel needs and will continue to need. We have tried to anticipate to be there. Every woman in this room, and I know there's some men, every woman and man in this room is in partnership with you, and I hope you feel that every day.
We do, and we are very grateful. And we've had so many solidarity missions. We've seen it on the ground. We appreciate the help, the solidarity, the caring so much. And someone said, one of the speakers beforehand said that there is no silver lining. But to me, there is a silver lining even to this very, very black and dark cloud of October 7th. I think it's the coming together of Am Yisrael throughout the world, that's for sure. And it is felt every single day.
Throughout the past 15 months, you and President Herzog have been the definition of compassion. Visiting bereaved families, including those in hospital, those living in communities in both the North and the South. Can you share how you've used your voice in this moment, and honestly, how you've been able to do it day after day? Just in the last 24 hours, we've lost 4 more precious soldiers. Where do you find the koach?
So let me say that the past 15 months have been very difficult. I must say this presidential term has not been your classic presidential term, okay? I was promised ribbon cutting. Slightly different. We started the term in July 2021. Inauguration took place still with COVID masks. And then came the beginning of 2023 with the judicial reform, the demonstrations all over Israel. It was a very difficult period. And since October 7th, we see our mission as consoling, listening, being there for the people of Israel and for the Jewish people from around the world. The president and I have seen over 1,000 bereaved families in the past 15 months. It has been, on the one hand, very, very difficult and very emotional. On the other hand, it has been uplifting, it has been strengthening, because we see, and this is not a cliche, we see a beautiful people. We see families from all over Israel. We see beautiful people, people that care, people that come together in time of need. We visited all the communities from north and south who were displaced. And I have to tell you particular experience, which was very sad, but as I say, uplifting, marking the day of October 7th, the year after. We embarked on a 3-day journey in the Gaza envelope in Western Negev. And we visited all the communities, army bases, towns, villages that were hurt. It was a real journey. We started off at the Nova Festival site, I think with some of you present. And it was a very emotional 3-day journey. But it was very strengthening because you can see the resilience, the determination of the people. Now, of course, the game changer will be, and the most important thing will be to have the hostages back home. Israeli society will never be whole again until they're back home. It is a painful, almost I would say a bleeding wound for all of us on an everyday basis, and we need to have them home. I'm very, very hopeful, and I pray, and I really hope with all of my soul that the current negotiations succeed, and I know that we're very close, and I do hope that we will have good news, God willing, even during the conference here.
Amen, amen. In the wake of the October 7th attack, you have become one of the leading voices in exposing the systematic sexual crimes perpetrated by Hamas. Please share some of your experiences advocating on this issue.
So I took it upon myself. Who would expect that we would have to deal with such a painful issue? It was never really part of the conflict. And all of a sudden, what happened on October 7th shocked us all. And it is something that the Muslim world has no answer to. They shun away from what happened on that terrible day as well, and unfortunately may still be happening in Gaza. And it is not only, I feel, that we have to bring the voice of those women and men that unfortunately cannot shout on their own because most of them were murdered. It is also a universal issue because we felt, especially as Israeli women, and there's a brave group of Israeli women that have brought this to the attention of the world on world platforms everywhere. And the silence and the turning back of organizations, international organizations, especially UN Women, who were created to protect women's rights, but they turned away and they were silent. And it is my belief that we have to keep this issue on world platform. It is a universal issue. This is a very turbulent world. There's bound to be another conflict. Other women may be hurt again, and we must do everything possible to prevent this. And so this has been a very, very delicate issue within Israeli society and universally, but we must talk about it and we must keep it on the world stage. And we do have friends. We have a lot of women friends around the world. And I must thank Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield, the US ambassador at the UN, who stood up for us. And I have met the incoming ambassador, Elise Stefanik. I am sure she will embrace this issue as well and be with us, with Israeli women and women at large.
And we all are in this fight together and must continue to be loud and outspoken. Just one more question for you. I have the great privilege of being in your presence, and there is a feeling of optimism in being around you. How do you do it? What gives you that optimism?
I think what keeps the optimism are the people, the wonderful, wonderful people that we meet. As I said, from all over the world in visiting the wounded in hospitals and visiting bereaved families and displaced communities, you can see beautiful people and you know that they're determined to continue. And just to give you two little stories of women that bring me optimism. The stories of two young widows, unfortunately. One is Ashira Greenberg. Ashira's husband was killed in Gaza last December. He was the commander of the Golani Brigade. They suffered many casualties on October 7th, and he was then killed in December. Ashira is a young mother to Arbel, who is almost 5 years old. And Ashira promised her last year when we came to visit them that the next candle lighting in Hanukkah, she will do it with the president. And she chose to come with us, with the president and me, to Metula. Now, Metula is the northernmost city shattered by Hezbollah missiles and rockets. And it's a wonderful place. I hope that in a few years' time it will be rebuilt and we will all come and visit it. So one of the candle lightings we did during Hanukkah was in Metula. First time the community actually came together as a community, because they were all over the place, to light the candles. And Ashira and her 5-year-old daughter Arbel came with us, and Ashira shared her optimism, her energy, her looking at the future with the people of Metula. So this is solidarity for you, and that brings me optimism. And another young widow is Sapir Bloch. Sapir lost her husband, Yedidia, a few months ago. He suffered head injury, was hospitalized for a few days and didn't make it. And she, this brave young widow, 8 months pregnant at the time, decided to donate his organs. She saved 9 lives. And the reason I know this firsthand is that one of the lives saved is of a friend of mine. She got Yedidia's liver, and it changed her life. And when I called Sapir to say, are you willing to meet the family? She said, oh, that's the last piece of the puzzle, because I found all the other families. 3 weeks ago, Sapir gave birth to a wonderful little baby, a boy named Ori. And this must bring optimism, doesn't it?
I know you all join me in praying and hoping that you and President Herzog go from strength to strength as you continue to represent the Jewish people.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you.
And just for a moment or two, I need to remind all of you that we have our work cut out for us, we Lions of Judah, and we will not shy away from it. No matter how long it takes, no matter the need, we will not abandon the work in Israel, in Ukraine, and around the world. Equally pressing is our responsibility to ensure the safety and security of our Jewish communities at home. Lions of Judah have been leaders in building our comprehensive coverage of community security initiatives. We understand that parents will not drop their kids off at Jewish schools or camps or attend synagogue unless their families are safe. The visible presence of our security system is not only evidence that we are as safe as we can be, but it is also the underpinning of Jewish engagement. And now we must not only sustain our security efforts, but match them in this intensive fight against anti-Semitism in every community. Our relations with our local governments, universities, primary and secondary schools, churches and mosques, business associations, unions, and healthcare institutions are not just about good community relations, but are about aggressively defending our children and ourselves from the hate that is too prevalent in our civil society. Finally, we Lions of Judah understand better than anyone that the surge in Jewish engagement since October 7th is real, and that we must and we will make sure our doors are open wide and our institutions are ready and able to welcome everyone who seeks to participate. At the beginning of this plenary, I referenced Jacob's blessings of his sons at the end of his life. Of course, Jacob also famously blessed his grandsons, Ephraim and Manasseh. It is thanks to this past week's Parsha that we bless our sons on Friday night by saying, Yismacha Elohim K'Ephraim v'chi Manasseh. So where does our tradition of blessing our daughters in the name of Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah come from? It seems that it starts with the book of Ruth, in which Ruth is blessed on her marriage to Boaz in the name of Rachel and Leah, which evolved over time into our tradition to include all the matriarchs because of the merits of each: kindness, charity, and nurturing. First Lady Michal Herzog and all my beloved Lions of Judah, whether here in Atlanta or at home, I pray that God will make you all like Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, strong and resolute, caring and generous, and above all, inexhaustible in the face of our enormous agenda in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.